Hey there, fellow traveler. Welcome aboard TravelVibes, your go-to place for cruise wisdom, smart travel tips, and the kind of advice you won't hear from the cruise lines themselves. If you've ever daydreamed about exotic ports, colorful market stalls, and stepping off a ship like the star of your own adventure film, you're not alone. That's exactly what most first-time cruisers expect. You picture yourself hopping off the ship, exploring cobbled streets, grabbing a souvenir, maybe posting a dreamy photo by the harbor. But then reality shows up. Long lines just to leave the ship, crowded shops selling the same trinkets, tour guides shouting over each other. And instead of excitement, you feel stress, confusion, even disappointment. That's when a surprising idea starts to take shape. What if the best part of your cruise is staying on the ship? Stick around, because in today's video, we're diving into what cruise lines don't warn you about at port stops, and how learning when not to get off can actually transform your trip. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our growing crew of savvy cruisers. Let's set sail together. Number 1. Why some ports are better seen from the deck. Here's the truth no one tells you before your first cruise. Not every port is as dreamy as the brochure claims. You'll see vibrant photos online, pastel buildings, smiling locals, quiet beach paths. But step off the ship, and sometimes the scene feels very different. I've walked straight into ports that looked Instagram perfect on paper, only to be greeted by pushy street vendors, stray animals, and armed guards standing on every corner. It's unsettling. That's when I stopped relying on glossy flyers and started checking real travel advisories from the US State Department and even the UK Foreign Office. These aren't just for diplomats. They're for travelers like you and me, especially if you're cruising from Florida or heading to the Caribbean. Now, if a port is flagged for unrest, petty crime, or health risks, I simply stay on board. And honestly, it often turns out to be the better decision, because no souvenir is worth risking your peace of mind. Number 2. When Rome isn't really Rome. Here's something that surprises a lot of first-time cruisers. Sometimes the name of the port on your itinerary doesn't mean the ship docks anywhere near it. You might book a cruise excited to see Florence, but end up in Livorno, nearly 90 minutes away by bus. Rome? That's Civitavecchia. A beautiful name, sure, but it's a solid 2-hour ride to the actual Colosseum. And let's be honest, after a long commute through highways and industrial parks, that ancient stone looks a little less magical. I've been there. I once took a 3-hour round trip to Pisa just to find the Leaning Tower wrapped in scaffolding. No tower photos, overpriced sandwiches, and I missed a live jazz trio playing on the ship deck that afternoon. Now, I always research the actual docking spot using tools like whatsimport.com. If the travel time eats up half the day, I skip the hustle and enjoy a calm poolside afternoon instead. No crowds, no stress, no regrets. Number 3. When too many tourists ruin the magic. Bigger ships mean bigger crowds, and when multiple cruise liners dock at the same port on the same day, your peaceful island escape can quickly turn into a tour of chaos. You think you'll be strolling quaint alleyways, sipping coffee in a quiet seaside cafe, but instead, you find yourself shoulder to shoulder with thousands of sunburned tourists, all clutching maps, snapping selfies, and trying to buy the same magnet you were eyeing on Etsy last week. I still remember arriving in Santorini last summer. It was supposed to be dreamy, white rooftops, blue domes. Instead, it was a traffic jam of people. The line for the cable car? 2 hours. The streets jam-packed like Times Square on New Year's Eve. So, what do I do now? I check cruise port schedules in advance on sites like cruisetimetables.com. If 5 ships are arriving that day, I stay put. Trust me. Sipping lemonade in an empty solarium beats fighting for gelato with a crowd of 15,000. Number 4. When you're not as welcome as you think. It's something most travel guides won't tell you, but it matters more than ever. Not every port city is excited to see another cruise ship arrive. Overtourism is becoming a real issue. Venice has already limited ship access. Amsterdam is debating cruise bans. And in Barcelona, I once saw protest signs sprayed in red paint that simply said, "Tourists go home." Not exactly the welcome you'd hope for after a relaxing breakfast at sea. For younger travelers from the US who care about culture and sustainability, this can feel jarring. You're expecting local charm, but find tension instead. And I get it. These places are overwhelmed. Locals are priced out, traditions watered down, so when the vibe on shore feels cold or resentful, I take the hint. I skip the souvenir hunt and spend the day on board instead. Because unlike the crowded port or the irritated shopkeeper, the ship always offers a smile, a seat, and a soft towel. No judgment attached. Number 5. Don't leave your perks behind. Let's talk about something every savvy cruiser in the US cares about. Value. You've probably prepaid for a drink package, a Wi-Fi plan, or a thermal spa pass. Maybe even splurged on a private cabana or a specialty dining package. Sounds great, right? But here's the catch. Most of those perks are only usable on board. Step off the ship for a 6-hour shore excursion, and that $80 day drink package? Gone for the day. Unlimited lattes, mocktails, sodas, none of it follows you into port. Same with that dreamy thermal suite you toured on embarkation day. While everyone's sweating in line for a crowded shuttle, you could be soaking in a steam room with no wait. I once spent a port day enjoying a luxury spa circuit that's usually packed, and had it entirely to myself. Heated loungers, eucalyptus mist, even a rainfall shower I swear was made by angels. If you've already paid for these experiences, don't leave them behind. Sometimes, staying on board is the most first-class thing you can do. Number 6. The hidden Wi-Fi hack most cruisers miss. If you've ever struggled with slow cruise Wi-Fi, you're not alone. Streaming buffers, messages lag, even sending an email feels like 1997 dial-up. But here's a secret most new cruisers don't realize. The fastest internet you'll get is when everyone else gets off the ship. On port days, the bandwidth clears out like magic. While other passengers are off exploring ruins or queuing for tour buses, you've got smooth, uninterrupted access to stream your favorite show, FaceTime your family back home, or upload that stunning sunset photo without waiting 10 minutes per pixel. As someone who works remotely while traveling, I now plan my online tasks around port stops. One afternoon, I even held a full Zoom meeting with crystal clear video. No glitches, no lag. Better than my cafe Wi-Fi back in Chicago. So if staying connected is important to you, whether for work, family, or just catching up on Netflix, port days are your digital golden hour. Number 7. Why the buffet feels like fine dining on port days. Let's be honest, cruise buffets are both a blessing and a battlefield. On embarkation day, it's chaos. Elbows out, trays clanking, tables vanishing faster than the shrimp cocktail. You spend more time scanning for an empty seat than actually enjoying your food. For many first-time cruisers from the US, it's a bit of a shock. But here's the magic. Wait for a port day. When most guests disembark for shore excursions, the buffet transforms. No crowds, no lines, just peaceful stations, smiling crew, and the kind of calm you thought only existed in travel brochures. One morning, I sat by the window with a plate of fresh fruit and eggs Benedict, watching dolphins trail the ship. No noise, no rush, just silverware, coffee, and the ocean. It felt like a 5-star brunch, and it was included. If you love good food but hate cafeteria vibes, this is your chance to experience the buffet the way it was meant to be. Relaxed, quiet, and truly satisfying. Number 8. The best cruise deals no one talks about. Here's something most cruise lines don't exactly shout from the rooftops, but seasoned cruisers know it well. Port days are discount gold mines. While most passengers are ashore shopping for souvenirs or paying for pricey excursions, the ship quietly drops its prices, just for those who stay behind. Massages and facials at the spa? Often 20 to 40% off. Specialty restaurants? Lunch specials you won't find on sea days. I once had a filet mignon lunch at the ship's steakhouse for half the usual dinner price. No dress code, no reservation, and no crowd. Just quiet elegance and a view of the open sea. Some ships even offer wine tastings, cooking demos, or mixology classes for free or deeply discounted, as long as you're on board. So, here's the tip for budget-conscious American travelers. Check the ship's daily planner every night. Circle those port day perks. Because while others are spending more off the ship, you'll be saving and enjoying more on it. Number 9. The quietest pool day you'll ever have. If you've ever tried finding a lounge chair by the pool on a sea day, you know the struggle. By 7 a.m., every chair is claimed, often with nothing but a towel and a paperback novel. Add in kids doing cannonballs, loud music, and packed jacuzzis, and suddenly your dream of poolside serenity vanishes. But here's the trick. Stay on board during a port day. While the masses rush ashore to climb waterfalls or ride tour buses, the ship becomes your private retreat. No chair wars, no shouting, just the breeze, the sun, and space to breathe. I remember skipping an excursion in Jamaica, and it turned out to be the best decision of the trip. I had the hot tub to myself for nearly 2 hours. Book in hand, no noise but the splash of the water. That was my version of a waterfall. So if you're a US traveler looking for true rest, a wellness moment without the spa fee, the pool deck on port day is your hidden gem. Number 10, your spa day, minus the chaos and cost. Picture this. You're finally on the massage table, ready to drift into relaxation, and suddenly, bingo, echoes from the lounge next door. So much for peace. That's why seasoned cruisers know, if you want a spa experience that actually feels like a spa, plan it for a port day. While most guests are off exploring ruins or sweating through long excursions, the onboard spa transforms into a tranquil escape. No waiting room packed with robes, no noise leaking through the walls. And the best part? Port day discounts. I once booked a 50-minute seaweed wrap for 40% off the usual price. No upsells, no time pressure, just a warm room, calming music, and a therapist who whispered, "You picked the perfect time." She wasn't wrong. I even fell asleep mid-treatment. So for US travelers looking for real rejuvenation, not just a rushed massage, stay aboard and let the spa treat you like royalty for half the cost. Number 11. The best conversations happen when the bar is quiet. Sea days might bring the crowds, but port days? That's when the ship truly breathes, and so do the bartenders. On busy days, the bar staff barely have time to look up, let alone talk. But when the ship empties out during a port stop, the energy shifts. Suddenly, the bar becomes less of a pit stop and more of a lounge, a place for real conversation. I once spent a quiet afternoon at the Martini Bar, chatting with a bartender from Peru. He shared stories of 9 straight contracts at sea, his favorite hidden ports, and even how he perfected the espresso martini. By the end of the conversation, he helped me mix a custom mocktail. We called it the Lazy Cruiser. And yes, it was delicious. These are the moments that make a cruise unforgettable. For travelers from the US looking for connection, culture, or just a good story, skip the port hustle once in a while. Pull up a stool, take your time, and toast to travel done right. Number 12. The one thing money can't buy on a cruise. In a world where everything's scheduled, from excursions to dinner slots, there's one luxury most travelers overlook: stillness. No crowds, no deadlines, just you, the sea, and silence. It doesn't show up in the cruise brochure. You can't book it on the app, but it exists, especially on port days when the ship empties out. It's the quiet corner in the library, the shaded chair on the observation deck. A cup of tea without anyone rushing you. One of my most vivid cruise memories wasn't from snorkeling in Aruba or shopping in Nassau. It was a peaceful afternoon alone with a cup of chamomile, watching the sun dip behind the harbor hills. No camera, no plan, just presence. For American travelers craving mental space, those who feel overstimulated, overscheduled, this stillness might be the most valuable thing your cruise can offer. And the best part? You don't have to go ashore to find it. Number 13. When even doing laundry feels like a spa day. Okay, this might sound odd, but let's talk laundry. On longer cruises, especially those 10 nights or more, doing a load becomes inevitable. And believe it or not, port days are the perfect time to do it. Why? Because everyone else is off the ship. That means no line for machines, no waiting for dryers, and no one stealing your dryer sheets. It's quiet, clean, and oddly satisfying. I like to bring a book, grab a cup of tea, and sit nearby while my clothes spin. It becomes less of a chore and more of a reset. Bonus tip: many cruise lines offer port day laundry specials. Full-service wash, dry, and fold for less than what you'd pay back home in Ohio or Florida. For American travelers who love practicality, routine, or just the simple joy of clean socks, this might be your unexpected cruise highlight. A fresh wardrobe, folded to perfection, with an ocean breeze just outside the door? That's low-key luxury most people overlook. Number 14. Redefining what a perfect cruise day looks like. Here's the truth that experienced cruisers eventually learn. You don't have to do it all. Cruising isn't about checking every box or stepping off at every port just because it's on the map. It's about tuning into what you need. If the city calls your name, go explore. Get lost in alleyways, taste something new, take the photo, buy the magnet. But if your heart says, you know what? I just want to sit, breathe, and be today. Then listen, you're not skipping the cruise experience, you're customizing it. For US travelers who feel the pressure to maximize every moment, this is your reminder. Sometimes the richest travel memories come from letting go of the plan. Whether it's a nap in a shaded deck chair or a quiet tea by the window, you're not wasting the day, you're reclaiming it. Because the ship itself is a destination, and you deserve to enjoy it on your terms. So maybe next time you board a cruise ship, you won't feel the pressure to chase every port or fill every moment. Maybe you'll remember that it's okay, even powerful, to pause, to sip your coffee slowly while the world rushes off the gangway, to choose peace over plans, to trade the tour bus for a quiet morning by the sea. Because the real secret of cruising isn't hidden in brochures or packed into excursion guides. It's this: you don't need to go somewhere to go deeper. Sometimes, the most memorable part of your journey is learning how to stay still. And if this video helped you see cruising in a new light, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Travel Vibes, and share this with someone who needs a reminder that your best travel days might be the ones where you never leave the ship. Until next time, breathe easy, sail smarter, and let the journey be the destination. Bon voyage.